Hi, I'm Rebecca. This is the Creabeapodcast podcast, and today I'm going to show you everything that I knit in 2022. Hi, my name's Rebecca. I'm a knitter based in Edinburgh, and today I'm doing a wrap up everything that I knit in 2022. I have been looking forward to making this video since last January. I watched a few of these last year, but at the time I hadn't really done that much knitting. I didn't have that much to show, and I've overcompensated and I've got lots to show this year. A few things before we get started. Everything that I'm showing is a garment, so I'm not going to show any accessories. Like I've made some hats, I've made some scarves, I've made some gloves, I've made some shawls this year. They're not included. Everything except for one has been knitted for me. For each thing, I'm hoping to talk about like the process of knitting it, if I can remember that, the pattern name, the yarn I used. I don't think I'll know the yardages, but I can say the yarn I used, the size of the garment and how that relates to the ease I have when wearing it, whether I wear it still, if there are changes I would make, and what else? Is that everything? If I'd make it again, I guess. Oh, and how the yarn has worn over time. That's what I'm hoping to cover. I'm also kind of hoping to go in a chronological order, but I'm not 100% sure when exactly I finish things, so it'll be more a case of as chronological as I can manage, which I'm not sure how accurate that'll be, but that's okay. And before we get started, I'm just wearing jeans and a white t-shirt. I thought it was the best canvas for showing everything off. It might not be how I would normally wear the garment, but I think it's the easiest way to film this video. And my bust measurement is 107 centimetres. I'm like a UK, probably 14 to 16 on top, and I'm not super busty. And I think that probably accurately tells you how things will fit on me. And hopefully that's enough information. Okay, let's get started with sweater number 1. Okay, my very first sweater is a really good one. It is the Billie pullover by Sari Nordlund, which was a test knit that I did and I wrapped up in January last year. This is an all over, very intricate cable design. It's got a cable raglan. It's got these honeycomb cables across the front and across the back. And I knit mine in this beautiful colour of Cascade 220. It's the colourway Shire. As I said, I tested this garment for Sari Nordlund and it was at the time by far the most complicated thing I'd ever knit. I'm so proud of myself. This also went like, this got something crazy like 8,000 likes on Instagram. That was one of my most popular things ever posted. I love this sweater, but I never wear this sweater. And I can't part with it. Like there are some that I'm going to show today that I think I'm going to donate or sell or do something with, but this one I just cannot bring myself to part with because it was such an involved make and I was so invested in the process and I'm so proud of myself for making it, but it sits in my wardrobe. There are a few reasons why. The first reason is the fit over the bust. Now this one, what I'm going to show is I don't remember what size I knit for these and I'm not very good at keeping up to date with Ravelry. What I can tell you is the finished bust measurement, so I can just measure the sweater. This measures 100 centimetres, meaning I have got negative ease across the bust, meaning it's quite tight fitting, and I don't really wear things with negative ease very often. Now I think actually it's quite a flattering fit. I think it looks really nice. I think the shaping is a really good fit, and I think really this probably is the size I should have knit, maybe one size up, but I find it a bit too clingy. And the reason for that I think is this stitch. Now when I first shared this on the podcast, somebody commented and said this is also known as the boa constrictor cable, and that's because it goes both ways. You twist and turn the cables, and so I think this cabling is not for me and I've avoided honeycomb cables ever since. The second thing is that the neck is definitely too high, and actually there's shaping in the neckline, and when it's sitting quite flat, it's fine, but I find that it rides up, like the cables squish together and it rides up, and then I feel like it's too high. The other thing that I don't like about the sweater, it's also raining really heavily, so apologies for rain background noise, are the sleeves. They're just a bit too short. Like they're not quite bracelet length. Again, this is a very stretchy fabric, so I can kind of get them to where they need to be, but they don't stay there. And then they're baggy, and I just don't like it. It feels weird. I feel like unfinished somehow. And all I would have done, maybe I should still go back and do it, but I would have just decreased probably 4 stitches before I did the cuff, and then at the cuff, and it'd be absolutely perfect. So yeah, it's not, like I say, I think I've maybe worn this sweater for 3 hours maximum. The yarn is stunning. I'm a big fan of Cascade 220. It's really budget friendly. It has lots of options. The non-superwash version, it was great for what I did it for, but I don't wear the sweater. So I've got 2 options. I could try to reblock the sweater and see if I can get a bit more room into it, but I don't think that's really going to work. Or I could maybe see if my mum would wear the sweater. She is very similar colourings to me, so I think she'd suit the sweater, but she's slimmer than I am, so it might not have the same issues. So yeah, about 100 centimetre bust, so 7 centimetres of negative ease, and just not quite the fit I'm going for. I wear it and I see myself in the viewfinder and I think it looks really good. But whenever I go to wear it out of my house, I put it on and I'm like, ugh, no. So it's not a winner. That is sweater number 1, the Billie sweater by Sari Nordlund in Cascade 220, the Shire. Okay, number 2 is also a test knit. This is the Crescendo sweater Chunky by Sophie Hemmings, who is the Knit Purl girl, and I knit this in West Yorkshire Spinners Retreat Roving in their natural colour way. This is a round yoked sweater with this really pretty lace detailing. There's also a version which is, I think, maybe the Crescendo blouse, and it has mohair and fingering way held double, but this is the chunky version. I applied to test knit this because I had this yarn in stash. I bought this when I was very early into knitting and knitting chunky weight sweaters, and I wanted this out of stash, and this is what I made. I love the fit of this sweater. I also enjoyed it. Was a quick knit. I like knitting it. I like the fit across the shoulders. I don't have a lot of round yoke sweaters, and I do think this fits well. I think it's a bit deep in the raglan. So that is my underarm, and my underarm is like here. So there's a good maybe 12 centimetres of underarm fabric there. So I do think it looks automatically a bit oversized because of that. This measures 112 centimetres around the bust. I think this is stretched out a little bit. I think I knit the 110 centimetre side, so I do think it's stretched. I do like the fit of this. I don't love the neckline. Again, it's sitting kind of high on my neck, and I do prefer a lower neck, but again, I can pull it to there. The reason I did not wear the sweater is 100% the yarn. It is kind of tucked to the back of my wardrobe, and that is because this yarn pills like crazy, and it felt like it was like this in between every single wear. It's also pilled quite badly around the body. I just thought it looked really cheap when it started pilling so badly, and so I kind of stopped wearing it. It got thrown to the back, and I was like, ugh, no, I'm over it. I think it fit. I don't think I'd give this away. I don't think it's of the quality that I would want to like donate a sweater. I think it's probably, the yarn's probably not any good, but I should wear it more. I work from home, and this would be a great work from home sweater. It's super cozy. It's 100% wool. I think in like the deep depths of winter, this would make a great work from home sweater. So yeah, I also think it looks good. I see it again in the viewfinder and I think, oh, that's nice on. But I remember wearing this out for dinner last winter, and I think never wearing it again since. So a bit of debubbling, and this will become, I think, a work from home sweater. That's number 2, the Crescendo Sweater Chunky by Sophie Hemmings, the Knit Purl girl, in Retreat, West Yorkshire Spinners Retreat Roving in the natural colourway. Okay, number 3 is one of my favourite knits. I feel like I knit this last year, but it's in my brain, my knitwear goes in seasons and not in calendar years. So this is like a last year, as in last winter knit. It's pretty big. This is the sweater number 11 from My Favourite Things Knitwear. It is not a particularly size inclusive pattern, and I have transitioned throughout the year to only knitting size inclusive patterns, but this was before I was thinking about that, to be honest. This is a 140 centimetre bust, and you can see it's a pretty oversized sweater. It's got a lot of positive ease, but the arms are still relatively fitted. It is a drop shoulder sweater. It has got this twisted rib detail on the sleeves and on the collar, and I just think it's really cozy. It's my only turtleneck sweater, and it definitely has a place in my wardrobe. I'm wearing it and I'm not loving it so much on the viewfinder as I love it when I wear it myself, which is interesting. I knit this out of Cascade 220, again, in the colourway River Rock. I bought this yarn as the possible alternative to my Billie sweater and then chose to use the green instead. So I had this left over and I held it together for the first time with Filcolana Kid Silk what's it called? Oh, I can't remember it. Filcolana Tilia, which is one of my favourite mohairs. I think it's really silky and lovely, but also really budget friendly. In the colourway Latte, I believe. It's a bit more cropped, and yeah, it's just super cozy, super warm. I only wear this on cold, cold days. I find the mohair and the wool around my neck to be a bit too much if it's a medium day. If I get too warm and I'm wearing this, then I'm feeling like I can feel every little strand of mohair. But on a cold day, like under my coat, this is perfect. The only thing is that on one side, so this side is wearing pretty well, but this side has felted kind of badly. It's not showing very well, but this is like a real solid bit of like matted knitting here, which is interesting. It's only happened on one side and it's kind of past repair. I don't think I can fix that. The sweater could probably do with a little bit of debobbling. There is a little bit on the arms. A little bit of pilling, but it's held up otherwise really, really well. It gets quite a lot of wear, only really in the colder months. If you were looking to make the sweater but wanted to make a size inclusive version, the Wednesday sweater by Petite knit, I think is goes up to a 5XL. Interestingly, this sweater only comes in 3 sizes and I knit the smallest size, which wasn't the recommended size for my body, but already has, what is that, like 23 centimetres of positive ease. So I decided that I would go with it. So yeah, that is my sweater number 11, my favourite things knitwear, in Cascade 220 and Filcolana Tilia. Okay, number 4 is my Badger and Bloom sweater, which is a pattern by Ventzel, and it's knit in Holst Cielo. I kind of like the sweater, but I don't really wear it, and there are a couple of reasons I don't really wear it. The first is I think it looks really good. I think it's a really nice colour. I love, this is a grey and this is an oatmeal, and I really like those two as a contrast colour. It makes me want to do that in colour work in the future. It's also got colour work details around the arms and these like really cute little dinky cuffs. One of the reasons I don't wear this is I didn't knit the short rows, and I don't know why I didn't knit the short rows, because I know how to knit short rows and I just didn't do it. And you can tell, this was easy to see it, like it is cutting me off a little bit here at the neck, and it just makes it uncomfortable to wear. I can of course give it a bit of a pull, but it doesn't really stay there very naturally, and so over the course of wearing it, it creeps up and then it gets on my neck and then I get frustrated and want to take it off. The sleeves are also a little bit short. That's also on me. I like a bracelet length sleeve, but this is just a bit shy of bracelet length, and it just feels like a weird in between 3/4 and bracelet. I think I blocked this. I block everything, but I've got a weird feeling in my head that I didn't block this, but I don't know why I think that. So I probably could block a bit more space into the sleeves. The primary reason I do not wear this sweater is that it is a really, really bad example of size inclusive designing, and that it's not inclusive at all. I think it goes up to 120 centimetre bust, and at the time I messaged the designer and said, hi, like I've knit your pattern, I love your pattern, it's beautiful, is there a reason you don't cater for larger sizes? And she came back and said like, oh, not every design can be graded to that size, but this is a very, very straightforward 1x1 colour work yoke, and as someone who has since designed patterns, I am 100% confident that this pattern could be made in more inclusive sizes. So it's just a bit of a nasty taste in my mouth. Someone who purposely doesn't want to include larger sizes. And yeah, it was a big designer as well. Like some smaller designers say they can't get test knitters for larger sizes and these things, and I understand a lot of that, but it just put, I don't know, I don't really feel good wearing this because I feel like I'm supporting a designer that I don't really agree with. So maybe it's time to get rid of this. I think it looks really beautiful, and so that's why it stayed in my wardrobe for so long. But I think maybe, again, I can check with my mum, and if not, I think this sweater would be good to be donated or sold. The yarn is worn up fairly well. This is Drop Cielo, and I love this yarn. I bought it for this. This, I think, traditionally uses Camo Sneffnug and mohair held double, or maybe just Camo Sneffnug, which is a pricey yarn, and I was looking for a more affordable option, and this came in pretty good. It was a bit chunkier, which there were other alternatives like Drops Air, but Drops Air was a bit too thin, and so I went with this. I was back and forward a lot about this yarn. I remember it being a real thought process about what to buy, and I went for the Cielo, and I really, really love it. It is a Alpaca Merino base with a core, so it's like a blown yarn, and it is incredibly soft, really, really comfortable to wear, neck to skin soft, and I love it. I have had bad luck with this yarn though, so this is the first sweater I made in it, the yarn has been perfect. I kind of love the design except for this, and if I felt better wearing it, I would wear it more often. I've also got another thing I knit in this yarn, and I don't wear that either. So it's been unfortunate. That being said, I have ordered some more of this yarn in the Black Friday sale from Holst, and I'm excited to make something out of it that I will actually wear because it's so soft. It's worn relatively well. The sleeves have got a little bit, oh, there's a thread stuck. They've pilled a little bit maybe. But it is a very soft yarn, so I do think that on softer yarns you kind of expect pilling, especially in areas like under the arms, under the, like on the torsos where the arms rub, and so like I'm not unhappy with how this is worn. I just think it's time to part ways with this sweater and make something out of this yarn that I really, really love and that I will wear all the time because it's so soft and I want to just be like wrapped up in it. So it's the Badger and Bloom by Ventzel. Oh, the finished bust on this is 112 centimetres, so I have about, what is that, 5 centimetres of ease. This is pretty much my happy place. I tend to go for 112. If I want a normal fitting sweater with not an oversize, just fitted the way I like, I tend to look for 112 centimetres, and yeah, I'd say that's pretty accurate. That's what I kind of enjoy. So yeah, not a win this one, but not a whole mix of reasons, and the yarn I would definitely recommend, and I will knit with this yarn again. Okay, the next one is probably one of the favourite things I've ever knit. I love this sweater. It is perfection. It's not perfection actually, there are things I don't like about it, and yet I still reach for all the time, and I love this sweater and I just feel so good in this sweater. So this is the Stockholm sweater by Petite Knit. It is a drop shoulder design with a real seamless shoulder pickup, which I really love. It's got this like chunky neckline, and it's a bit more on the oversized side of things. This is 118 centimetres, giving me 11 centimetres of ease around the bust, so definitely a bit bigger. And again, like the arms are a bit more loose, and it's generally just a bit looser. I should add, I have not washed a single one of these sweaters since, I think that's right, I think since I blocked them. So I don't really wash my sweaters a whole lot. I think what I will do is at the end of this winter season, I'll give them all a wash and a block because it's starting to get warmer, and then pack them away for the winter or for the summer. But I live in Scotland, you know, it's not uncommon for it to be 12 degrees in summer and so my sweaters never really go away, and I'm just not very good at making sure I wash them, so I should wash them more, but they've not been washed since then. This was knit in a really interesting yarn combination, which is Drops Alpaca in Rust Mix and Tynn Silk Mohair in Rust. And Tynn Silk Drops Alpaca is just pure alpaca, and it's super silky and it's beautiful. And Tynn Silk Mohair has got mohair, silk and wool. So this has got silk, mohair, wool and alpaca in it, but it's a great combination, and I should definitely consider next year knitting something else in this yarn combination. The alpaca makes it very drapey and very soft. The wool and the tin, it still keeps it kind of feeling rustic with that wool element in it, but it's held up exceptionally well, and I think that is probably due to the mohair. I'm going to show you a close up and see, I don't know if you're going to catch it, but the alpaca, yeah, you kind of can, had this amazing variegation in it with like little bits of blue and yellow, which has definitely faded out a little bit with the mohair, but has given it this really amazing sort of tonal colour. This sweater I knit on 3.25mm needles, which was at the time the smallest project I'd ever made, and I started it and then I put it down for a little while and I picked it up again, and I'm so glad I finished it. The few things I'm not a fan of, I think I've done something wonky with my pickup on this sleeve because it bubbles just a little bit and it doesn't bubble on this sleeve at all. And I'd never noticed when I'm wearing it, but I notice every time I put it on the mirror that this side just bubbles a little bit. So I think I've just, yeah, you can see there's a little bit of puckering around the top of that sleeve, and I maybe could steam block that out, to be honest, but it just always catches my eye. I also put some elastic in the neckband, which is the first time I'd done that. When I finished this, the neckband was like sticking up and I thought, oh my lord, what have I done? But I put in some elastic and it has stayed, I think I used shirring elastic, and it has stayed completely fine and kept its shape ever since. Pilling wise, let's see, it's pretty good. I don't think ever been debubbled, and I honestly went through a phase of wearing this every single week. It is one of my most worn sweaters and it's still in pretty amazing condition. I think like a run over with a debubbler would put this back to absolutely perfect. And what else to say about this? Oh, the final thing to say about this sweater is there are two of Petite knit sweaters which look very similar. So this is the Stockholm and there's also the Oslo, and they've got the same gauge, they've got a pretty similar like schematic, the sizing's all very similar, but the main difference is the construction. At the time I was completely stumped, and I've been asked a few times since, and with the Stockholm you cast on for the back and you knit a big rectangle and then you pick up for the shoulders and you like shape the shoulders round. With the Oslo it's more of a traditional drop shoulder construction, which you cast on for the neck and then you sort of increase out until you get this like parallelogram. It's not a parallelogram. I can't remember what it's called. The shape where it's like a short on top and long in the bottom, and then it's got the two diagonals either side. I can't remember what that's called. I can't remember. Anyway, one of those. And then that's like that, and then you pick up from the diagonals, you pick up for the shoulders and work round. That is what I would consider to be a more like traditional or more commonly used drop shoulder technique, but for this one you start with this square. I love this so much that I have cast on a second one, but it's not been touched in a few months. It is just joining the round and I'm just knitting away on the body, and I should put some more time into it, but I've had a few, you know, Christmas, you got gift knits, you got deadlines, but that is my current like easy breezy knitting that I should finish. I hope to finish soon because I love this, and I do think I should knit something. I mean, I have a lot of yarn, so I don't need to buy any more yarn for anything, but if I was in the future looking to get something else, I think Drops Alpaca and Tynn silk mohair is a perfect, delicious combination that has held up well over time. My Stockholm sweater by Petite Knit, Drops Alpaca and Tynn silk mohair in the colour Rust Mix and Rust, and it's about 118 centimetres finished bust. Okay, so last year, 2021, I got really obsessed with the no frills sweater by Petite Knit. I just loved the joining the round and just keep going element of that sweater, and I thought it was really easy to wear, and I loved the yarn combinations, and so I made a few, and this is one of them. I made it this year, but this is kind of on the tail end of, it was like February time, on the tail end of my excitement about the no frills sweater, and this is one of my last ones. There's one more, I think. So this sweater I then proceeded to lose for 4 months. And then I found it one day and I was like, oh, I love this sweater, why am I not wearing it? But something definitely happened, and I think maybe I felted it a little bit, or I definitely shrunk it a little bit, because it does not fit the same way as the rest of my no frills, but I do love the fit of this. So it's got much more fitted sleeves than most of my sweaters aren't this fitted. It's also pretty cropped. I know I'm struggling to get my head and my bottom of my sweater in. I might add for some of them like a side video so you can see what it looks like more full length. It is still a little bit, again, maybe my neck is funny because the short rows on this are also a bit funny. I think it's on the right way round. I think it is. My biggest issue with the no frills is that the neckline is really wide, and so you can always see my t-shirt popping out underneath, and that is just how her designs are. I've seen it on other ones since. Like, I see it all the time on hers, and so since then I've gone looking for raglans that don't have that, but I did still make a couple along those lines, and this is actually a really lovely sweater. Again, it's one I wear from home most of the time, and it's knit in this beautiful silver grey colour, and this is Rico Superba Luxury Alpaca Sock in the colourway Silver. And I only used 900 metres for the sweater. Now it is a pretty cropped length. I mean, it hits top of my jeans, but it is more cropped. And this is pretty much bang on. I think it's 108 centimetre bust after shrinkage. I don't know what size I knit, but it's not got very much in the way of ease. It's just got enough ease. This yarn hasn't held up super well, which I'm surprised at because it's a sock yarn. I bought it to make socks. I bought one skein in a shop in Cambridge. Loved it so much. I ordered a sweaters quantity, which was another 3 balls, and I still have 1 whole ball left, which I intend to use for maybe socks, maybe a hat actually, it'd be good in. But it did bubble a lot, and this has been depilled fairly recently, I think. So it is all looking, actually, it's looking pretty good. I think I did depill this in the last few months, like this season, because at one point the arms were just, you can maybe see this arm a bit better. There's a little bit bobbling here. And the arms had just gone like full bobble. So I felt a bit scruffy wearing it because I felt like I needed to clean up. So yeah, this is like an unexpected, didn't really turn out to be what it was meant to be for. Doesn't fit the way it was meant to fit. Still gets some wear. I wouldn't be sad if this wasn't in my wardrobe, but I like having it and I'm not going to part with it, I don't think. Yeah, it's not the great fit, like there's a bit of bagging here and things, which it's not perfect. Yeah, and I think the biggest issue with the no frills, and it's the same with all of my no frills, is just that this annoys me. I think it doesn't look good, and you will see that I have since then gone on to try other raglans in an attempt to fix the neckline shaping. Okay, what is next? Okay, the next one is also a test knit. This, which looks a bit silly with our white t-shirt, but I'm not changing because that's too much of a hassle. This is the Bina V-neck by Gregoria Fibres, and I knit this with a strand of, I think, Woolyknit. No, it's definitely Woolyknit in the colourway, I think, Heron, and a strand of Filcolana Tilia in the colourway Steel, and I do not wear the sweater and I should get rid of it. It is very oversized. This is 100, I'm honestly the same colour as my wall here. I could just blend in. It's very oversized. This is 128 centimetres, so like a good 20 centimetres finished bust, but it has zero shaping. I think that's the problem. With other oversized sweaters, there's still some shaping in it, but this one I think hangs like an absolute sack of potatoes. I don't think there's anything flattering about this. I don't think there's too much fabric here and there's too much fabric in the arms, and I just don't think it's any good. It's really boxy, there's no shaping, and also I struggle to wear this v-neck, and I have another v-neck that I struggle to wear, so maybe it's me in v-necks that's the problem, but I don't wear this and I should part with this sweater because it's taking up space that I do not need. It's a really great combination of yarn. I've used this a few times. Interestingly, almost always in sweaters I'm not wearing, but I'm not wearing them because of the design and not because of the yarn combination. The thing I love about this sweater though is this neckband. It's not ribbing, it's stockinette at a smaller gauge folded over. And I think that's a really interesting technique, and I did this centre double decrease that I was very proud of at the time. But yeah, it's a no, it needs to go. And I'm realising we're in a bit of a phase at the moment of sweaters that I'm not really wearing very much from last year, and I didn't realise how many I had that I don't wear. There are quite a few. There are still probably 2 more coming that I made last year that I don't wear, so interesting combo. But this one, it is, I think I'll donate this one. It's, like, I don't think I'll sell it because I don't love the fit of it, but I think it's something that somebody would find a very cosy, oversized, warm sweater. It's just not for me. My younger sister loves to wear baggy sweatshirts though, so maybe I should offer this to her and see if she'd wear it. She's also like very slim, and I think maybe the oversized vibe would look more chic on her than on me, where I think it just looks like I'm wearing a sweater that doesn't fit. The drop on this is also, the drop is really low, and it means that the sleeves just look like a triangle. It is not a good look. Ugh. Ugh. It's a no. That's the Bina sweater by Gregoria Fibres. Something I will say about this though is that I offered to test it. I decided to test it this sweater, and at the time the sizes were not inclusive, and I messaged the designer and said, hey, like, I'm not really comfortable testing for you, I'm really sorry, I should have checked beforehand. You couldn't sign up for I don't think you can send it for a size. I think you just submitted the size that your bust, and then you got assigned a size. And the designer came back and said that she extended the size range. So that was something like positive memories associated with the sweater, is that the designer took some really good feedback from some random person she didn't know and increased the size range of her sweater, which is lovely. And I really appreciate that. So yeah, it's a no for me, but overall I guess it's a good thing, I guess. Okay, well, where are we at next? Okay. My next one is my sweater number 18 from My Favorite Things Knitwear, and it is knit in Woolyknit in the colourway Harvest, which is the most beautiful, stunning burnt colour. It's getting so dark outside. It's honestly 11:30 in the morning and it's grey, so I think the joy of this colour isn't really showing up as well. And I searched far and wide, and I think I used Sandnesgarn. No, I think I used Tynn Silk Mohair again to get a matching colour, because it was really hard to find. Harvest is like a burnished gold colour, and I was getting like just off, and I didn't want to mute that colour because I loved it so much. So this is an all over texture. It's got this it became very fashionable this year, I think. I saw a lot of designs with this kind of using the knits and purls to make a textured sweater. It's a drop shoulder. It's got a very cool shoulder construction. This is what I mean by the more traditional drop shoulder, where you kind of increase along here and then you pick up for the front from that increase line. Double folded collar. It's cute. It's super cute. I don't wear it a whole lot, but I like it. I just don't reach for it very often. I think it's kind of hard to wear. If I'm being honest, I think I should block out the sleeves a bit more. They're feeling pretty tight here. So it feels like not oversized, but also not fitted, and in that kind of weird in-between zone. This is also My Favorite Things Knitwear, who I've stopped knitting from because they don't make inclusive designs, but it's more inclusive. Like it's a better size range. It's not just 120 centimeters, but it's still not like a full size range, and so it was a bit in the grey area for a while, but what I thought about them, and I've now decided to stop knitting from their patterns, but I do still have some other designs. They have also actually, in their most recent design, I believe, they've increased their sizes by one more, so hopefully they're like trending towards more inclusive designs, which is exciting. I just think it's really cool. It gives me kind of like 80s ski vibes, and I don't really know why, because I don't think it really is something you would ever wear on a ski slope. But it is pretty good. I really like it. I forgot to measure this one. Let me take it off and measure the bust size real quick. Okay, so this is 116 centimeters, so a little bit more oversized than like my 112 Perfect, but not quite fully oversized. I think if I were to make it again, like I would probably try and manipulate my gauge so it was like 118, 120 for that slightly more oversized feel. And I think I would not do as many decreases on the arms and probably have it a little bit looser fitting. It's a really nice decrease actually. It's a very nice angle. But I think I'd probably stop my decreases here or maybe here and then just make it straight from there onwards. Love this yarn combination. Keep using this yarn combination. It'll keep cropping up because I just keep using it. What was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say. Something else. Oh, what I think I'm going to do with this is I think I'm going to block it again, because it's textured, but it's still a bit bobbly, like bubbling where the purl stitches are. And I think a second block and trying to sort of flatten it maybe a little bit more might make it a bit easier to wear. And I might just try and see if I can block a little bit more space into those sleeves just so that I wear it a bit more. I like this. I want to wear this more. It's a great sweater. It's interesting. It was fun to knit. I do remember by the time I was finished, I was like, thank God it's done. But I enjoyed knitting it. Mostly. And it's one of those sweaters that is much harder to write up, I think, than it is to knit. It's all charted and written, and it's all just knits. It's all the rows are either knit purl or knit one purl one, so very straightforward, very simple. But it felt like opening the pattern, I was like, what in the heck is going on? But it wasn't actually that hard. Okay, every time between takes I have to check my Instagram and see what I posted next, because I've not kept good Ravelry notes. So let's see what my Instagram says is the next sweater. Okay, this is probably what I expected. It wasn't quite finished. Oh, it was quite finished. I also am quite bad for posting like work in progress pictures, so I can't tell if that's it when it's finished or not, but I think it was finished. And again, it's not one that I wear. Okay, the next sweater, this yarn was gifted. So last year I ran the Cone Along, which was with Woolyknit, who are a UK based yarn provider, yarn supplier. And they sent me a big box of yarns, of which one was this. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Maybe? I think there's one more thing which was with gifted yarn. But this was gifted. So I used the colourway, I can't remember what it's called. I'll put it down below. And I used I remember that I used it with Filcolana Tilia. Again, my dream, a really nice combo. Love this combo. It makes for a very beautiful fabric. And it was in the colourway Midnight, I think. This is the first sweater by Lizzie, who is Hive knit. She's also just released the first cardigan. Again, it's sitting kind of high on my neck. I think it's fine. I don't think I blocked this sweater. So it is a pretty straightforward raglan. It's got this beautiful like chunkier raglan like double stitch. And then the real dramatic feature here is these big balloon sleeves in half fisherman's rib. Now, what was I going to say about this? I love the colour. It's not a colour I wear very often, but I do think it's a good colour for, I think I suit jewel tones. I don't wear very many of them, but I think I suit them, and I have a few that are more jewel toned, and I think it's a colour that I should maybe wear more of. I don't think I blocked the sweater. Now this is about 110 centimetres bust, so it's probably a bit more on the fitted side, but not, it's still got positive ease. The fabric is beautiful. I think that Woolyknit and mohair is a really lovely fabric. It's a bit dense, a bit denser than say a superwash, but it is still really, really lovely. I think it feels really nice. It's very, very soft. I think it wears well because of the 100% wool and the mohair. And literally between filming like sweater 3 and 4, I think, my post went and the post was delivering me more Woolyknit yarn in this space. So I'm a big fan of it. I would recommend it. Everything I've got on it that has worn very, very well. And some of them are getting a bit more wear. This is maybe getting less wear, but they've all worn well, and I find that when I wear them more, they soften up a bit more. The thing with this sweater, I don't think I blocked it. This is getting towards like April, May, I think, and I knew that some of these sweaters, it was getting too warm to wear. So I think I finished them and I put them away, and I don't think I blocked them. But the biggest issue with the sweater is the sleeves are way too short. And I now know the reason for this. At the time I was confused because Lizzie has you knit the sleeves shorter because when you block them out it stretches a lot. However, the sample is knit in superwash yarn and this is not superwash, and so I think the sleeves in the sample stretch out very comfortably to be a longer sleeve, but I think in 100% wool that's just not the case. And this clicked for me because I was watching Emma, who is Woolly Mammoth Fibre, and her podcast, and she's knitting one of these, and she used one of her limited edition yarns to make this sweater, and she had the same issue. She knitted to the recommended size, tried to block it, and her yarn just was not budging. And I think she talked about it being like the way the yarn was made, and that just completely was like a light bulb moment for me. I was like, oh, of course, that's why mine doesn't block either. I also think it's a bit, my raglan is pulling a little bit here, which is something which at the time would never bother me, but having now dived sort of deeper into construction, I think I probably should have sized myself a bit differently to get the fit I want. But I'm going to block this because I can't remember if I blocked it. I'm going to see if I can get a bit more length into the arms, and then if I can, maybe, I think I have more of this yarn left. I definitely have more of the base, and I think I have a scrap of mohair left, so it might be worth ripping this back. I think if I block the fit and if I like the fit of the body, then what I will do is rip the back of the sleeves and try and lengthen the sleeves, because it just feels like it's too small for me. Like it feels a bit too small here, and the short arms make you feel like a kid who's like outgrown their sweater. And so I think I need to do something with this one, and if not, I think this would be one that I would sell, and just make a note that the sleeves are a bit shorter, and it probably would suit someone who's shorter than I am. But I think it's beautiful. It's worn, I've not really worn it very much. It's made well. I can say that myself. I made it well. It's a very pretty design, and I think it should go to a good home if it's not something that I'm going to wear. Okay, I think the next one is a gift knit. Okay, so the next one is a gift knit, and the reason I still have it is because there are issues that I need to fix and I've not fixed it. Now this was gifted for a birthday in May and I've not fixed them, but the sweater fits me kind of well, so I'm going to just put it on so you can see what it looks like. I don't have the measurements to hand because, I'll tell you why. This is the Strange Brew sweater, which is well, it's kind of the Strange Brew. It's a mashup between the Strange Brew sweater and the Marit cardigan, which is from, I want to say Lina magazine, and which is a fingering weight cardigan. The Strange Brew sweater is a sort of choose your own adventure colourwork knitting book, and so I plugged the motif from the Marit into the sweater for the Strange Brew. I made this for my stepdad. It actually fits like relatively well, but you can see the places where it's obviously meant to fit a different body shape, which is the yoke is much deeper and the sleeves are pretty long. It's also longish in the body, but that is one of the things I have to fix. The primary problem with this, I used Woolyknit for this again. I bought all this Woolyknit, none of it was gifted. I used the Diggle DK, which I think has been discontinued. I still have a sweaters quantity, but I think I can't find it anywhere now, so I think they've like replaced that with a different base. And then I used British Wool Held Double in the colourway Celtic Green and Cinnamon. The cinnamon is my all-time favourite Woolyknit colour. The big issue with it, so the way the sweater works is really interesting. You basically like pick your size, and it covers everything from like baby to men's 3 or 4 XL, really broad size, and you kind of use the pattern as a bit of a workbook to write out your own version of the pattern. So it takes a bit of forward thinking, but it holds your hand a lot along the way. And there are also motifs that you can plug in based on that they give you some motifs, but you can also use different motifs like I did. I think if I was to go with it again, I'd probably design it for myself from scratch, but this is my first foray into like even modifying, like heavily modifying patterns, and so I was really happy to have that resource. There are 2 big issues that I need to fix, and I should fix them because this is a birthday gift for his 50th birthday in May, and he's never worn it because he tried it on once and I immediately was like, oh my god, it doesn't fit, give me back, I'll fix it. The first thing is that the body is just too short. It's hitting me right with my hip length and he is a bit taller than me, so I just need to add one more motif. It's going to be this brown one here, I think. Is that right? It's going to be, this brown one here is going to get plugged in. To add maybe another, and then I think I'll probably extend the ribbing. There's the inside. Oh, look at my floats. They're so good. So yeah, I just need to extend it by probably 8 centimetres or so. I think I'll do one more motif and then I will do a couple extra centimetres of ribbing and that would be it. The other thing is the neckband is way too wide. And for me, it doesn't look ridiculous, but on a man with broader shoulders, it was like this. And then he wore it with a t-shirt underneath it, so there's all this like nakedness here that looked so odd. And it was not at all in his style, and I don't think it looked particularly good. It made the sweater look a bit out of shape. So what I need to do, and I'm pretty confident with doing this, but I've been putting it off since May, is pick up along here, cut off the neckband, and then knit probably just a longer neckband. I could knit a little bit, but I think you'll see where the stitches go a different direction because it's knit top down. So I think what I will do is just do a super long neckband, because this is probably 4 centimetres and I probably just double it, make it like an 8 centimetre long neckband. I might do maybe like 2 centimetres of ribbing yeah, maybe I will do, because it's right above the colour work, so you might not notice if the stitches go a different direction. But yeah, I want to add a good probably 6 centimetres more to this neckband so it's not stretching out so much. Otherwise, this is my next big project after the Billie. It is an all over colourwork sweater. It took me ages. And I was really proud of myself. My gauge was pretty much bang on, which I quite appreciated. Although that being said, I measured it off of a sweater that he already owns, and I think I should have gone up a bit from that sweater, because that's a very like fitted sweater, and I think I could have. He suggested it, like that's one that he loves and wears a lot, but I think the style of this one would have suited me a bit deeper. I did put a label in this one, despite the fact that it's never been worn, and the pièce de résistance is the floats of this, because I was just so damn proud of myself. Look at that. That is some pretty even colour work. So I've not faced an all over colourwork project since. I did, you will see, design a colourwork sweater this year and I hit 3 times. So I think I kind of like colourworked out myself. But I would love to make myself this sweater in future. The cardigan version, I cannot remember if it's inclusive or not. I'm not sure if I would make the exact cardigan or if I would just use the motif. But I would, it's a fingering weight cardigan I think, and I would just use DK weight because I like this scale. I think it looks really cute. I also might just sub in, I don't know if I love this one, so I might just do these 2 on repeat as well and just borrow the motif and put them into something else. So that's my sort of strange brew mashup, gift knit gone wrong. Okay, quick note from me editing is, and a spoiler alert for the end of the video, I have way more sweaters than will fit in an hour or like an allotted time, so I'm going to split this into 2 parts. So I hope you've enjoyed my first half of 2022. I think a lot of the first half is some of my real favourites, but also a lot of things I'm not wearing very often. Come back in a couple of days, I'll post the second part of the video, which will include all my designs and some of my real favourites of the year. Hope you enjoy!